Tonight, Wyola City Council finally agrees on its rates and the Education Minister tours Port Lincoln High School's $15 million construction site.
From our 7 Spencer Golf Studios, your nightly news with Louise Huber begins now.
Good evening, everyone. South Australia's Education Minister has wrapped up his regional tour today by inspecting Port Lincoln High School's $15 million upgrade. Construction is well underway, with the new facility set to be up and running by next year in time for the Year 7's transition into high school in 2022.
Right now a construction site, but this will soon be transformed into a top-of-the-class education centre.
We're looking at improvements for the next 35-40 years, so it's a significant change, and we're looking forward to having up-to-date facilities, second to none, including metropolitan schools.
The Education Minister inspecting the construction's progress as part of this week's regional tour.
And the way that these schools on the Eyre Peninsula have bought into that improvement model, have worked and changed practices where necessary, but enhanced the great work that was already going on, has also been really impressive to see.
The $15 million upgrade is set to provide a new canteen space, learning facility and special education area. The school's set to accommodate more than 900 students.
Some preliminary work's being done underground, and we're looking to have some buildings start in the coming weeks.
This school at Port Lincoln is one of 5 across South Australia given a multi-million-dollar upgrade as part of the state government's $1 billion investment into capital works. Ceduna and Cummins area schools both receiving $4 million to go towards upgrades.
So we'll see expanded capacity, but really the 21st century learning environment that our kids deserve to be able to have access to. Construction
is set to be completed by next year, ready for when Year 7's transition into high school in 2022. Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Wyola Council has made a final decision on the city's rate prices in this year's budget, implementing a lower increase than originally proposed. Staff also announcing a hardship funding program for those most affected by COVID-19.
The proposed 3.6% rate increase has been dropped right down to 2.4. This means residents on average will only need to fork out an additional 50 cents per week.
Look, we've listened to the community, taken their feedback, and we've made a decision at Council on Monday night, and the outcome of that is that we are offering a 0% increase for the pensioners of Wyola.
Wyola City Council taking into consideration the impacts of COVID-19, offering a hardship funding program to those who need it.
And in that, we're offering, if you are eligible, up to a 40% rebate on your rates for the next 12 months, which we believe is very supportive, and it's targeting those that genuinely need the support.
This year's budget, heavily focused on the community, also continues to focus on Wyola's economic development.
We have over $400,000 set aside for economic development in the town, and that's a combination of attracting new businesses and industry to Wyola, and it's also us working with the established businesses that are here.
Council encourage anyone who is having difficulty paying their rates to get in contact with them. A full copy of the yearly budget can also be found online. Sophia Contagonis, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Businesses across the Spencer Gulf are bracing for a hard hit when JobKeeper payments start to reduce this month. Millions of dollars is set to be scrapped from the South Australian purse, but the Port Lincoln Chamber of Commerce says a recent boost in regional tourism will help to cushion the blow.
A bumper season for Port Lincoln businesses, with tourists flooding in, cooped up families hitting the road and exploring the West Coast.
In South Australia, we had over $3 billion that we would spend on overseas travel, and we're feeling quite safe and comfortable in our own backyard, and people are definitely getting out.
The cash injection, a lifeline for many eateries and hotels. The federal government's JobKeeper program also helping keep businesses stay afloat, but that's now being wound back.
Over $1 million every single fortnight in the Port Lincoln area is going to be withdrawn from the economy after this JobKeeper decision comes through.
From September 28th, JobKeeper payments will be slashed from $1,500 a fortnight to $1,200, while those working less than 20 hours a week will receive $750.
We've already seen data come out in South Australia that showed for every single vacant job in regional SA, there were 50 job applicants.
But Port Lincoln's Chamber of Commerce says that's not what they're hearing, reporting businesses are crying out for more people to work with them.
There are lots and lots of vacancies and people are really desperate for people seeking jobs to come and give it a go at their workplace.
JobKeeper will further be reduced in the new year, with full-time workers receiving $1,000 while part-time workers will be down to $650. Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Still to come tonight, a man arrested following a dirt bike crash in Wyola, and a bone density scanner arrives in Port Augusta for good. Hello again. The Minister for Innovation and Skills says a new reform of the Training and Skills Amendment will help businesses within regional South Australia. Port Augusta's Mayor is supportive of the changes, however the amendment isn't supported by all.
Apprentices, trainees and businesses are said to benefit from changes to the current Skills and Training Bill, although not everyone is on board.
It's very disappointing that Jeff Brock voted against the reforms that the government introduced into the Parliament last week that would support employers in regional South Australia to take on more apprentices and trainees.
The reform would include a raft of changes, including working to prevent incidents of larger companies taking apprentices from smaller businesses.
Putting this anti-poaching rule in place where a fee must be paid by the big employer who has poached an apprentice from a small employer. This is very, very popular with small regional businesses in particular.
The Port Augusta Mayor, alongside other Spencer Gulf mayors, supportive of the amendments.
As the three mayors also, we've been promoting, we meet with the Premier and at least 2 or 3 ministers each quarter, and this is one subject we've been promoting very seriously, skill-based qualifications and high degree qualifications within the regional areas.
The bill will face the Upper House next week. Jeff Brock declined to comment. Laura Milovanovic, 7 Spencer Golf News.
A 21-year-old man has been arrested after crashing his dirt bike in Wyola. Police say they saw the red Honda travelling with no lights or registration plate on Tuesday night. Soon after, authorities located the bike on Grundle Street where it had crashed. The Wyola rider wasn't wearing protective clothing and suffered minor cuts and bruises. He was charged with numerous traffic offences, which include the possession of a prohibited weapon. He will appear in court in November. Port Augusta residents in need of a special type of medical test will now be able to have it done in their city rather than having to travel. Equipment for bone mineral density testing now available at the local imaging clinic.
A quick and easy procedure which used to be quite a struggle for patients to fit in.
Patients were having to rely on the mobile units that came down or having to travel to Adelaide, so it's really good for the region to be able to increase the services here.
Before it was made available in Port Augusta, Ange used to make the trip to Flinders Medical Centre, saying it's a relief it's now being offered here.
The amount of time that you're in here is quite a short amount of time, so driving to Adelaide, getting to where you've got to go and then drive back, so this is heaps convenient for people in the country.
The 15-minute procedure looks at overall bone health.
The bone density test uses very low dose radiation, so low that we sit right next to the machine, to basically give us a snapshot of your bone health, and it can detect low bone density and osteoporosis.
Something critical for Ange's ongoing health.
I had breast cancer 3 years ago, so the tablets that I'm on cause osteoporosis, so they do these to test the levels.
Since the machine has been in operation, Dana says she's received a lot of feedback from patients finally making their appointment.
I've heard from quite a few people when I mentioned that the bone density was coming, they're going, oh, I've been putting them off because I didn't want to go to Adelaide and I couldn't be bothered organising it.
Laura Milovanovic, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us after the break. Children at a Wyola school embrace their sports day and a new oval. And a new art exhibition launches in Broken Hill. Welcome back. Broken Hill's Cricket League could be without one of its venues due to South Australia's border restrictions. The upgrade to a local oval can't be signed off until its light towers are set up by Adelaide engineers.
It's been 6 months since the Jubilee Oval received its new light towers. Standing tall over the home of Broken Hill football, they are the last part of the venue's multi-million-dollar upgrade. The project now all but done.
Since the border closed on the 24th of March, the lights have been up, ready to go. However, because the engineering company's in Adelaide, we can't get the lights signed off, so we can't get a full occupancy certificate.
Without that certificate, the venue cannot host any sport. No footy has been played in the city this year, but it's the upcoming cricket season which is proving menacing. The first round of the Barrier District Cricket League is expected to start in 4 weeks.
Certainly, it looks like A grade will start on the 17th of October. There is a possibility the B grade may even start a week before.
It was hoped the Jube would be back hosting A grade games this year after the Alma hosted all games in the previous season. The possibility of applying for an interim occupancy certificate being considered.
With the Cricket League, basically they're going to be using the oval and the toilets, so we don't see that as a major problem. We'll get that issued because we want sport on this oval.
With no sport played on the oval for almost 12 months, the playing surface is the best it's been in years. If cricket can return, officials say local cricketers will have a top shelf wicket to play on.
You can see from the playing field the surface has picked up significantly. We're forecast good rain this weekend. If that eventuates, this will make the playing surface even greater.
Patrick Reinke, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
School sports days are back on the cards this year with 2 Wyola primary schools enjoying some healthy competition today. It's one of the first major events the regional schools have held since the pandemic started, with students jumping right back in.
Primary school students from Our Lady Help of Christians and St Teresa's spending the day throwing, jumping and getting involved in a good old sack race.
Normally their sports day's been out at Jubilee Park, but we decided it's about time we did it at our secondary campus. So to have everyone here, especially during a COVID year, is fantastic.
Really excited and I love it.
With plans for the event put on hold only a few months ago, the students were more than excited for the day to go ahead.
We'll be doing the 100-metre sprint, high jump, like shot put and like discus and stuff like that.
The children are really excited. The sports day's fun anyway. The cheerleading's a really keen part of it, but something that they haven't been able to do for a lot of excursions and things like that had to be called off. So to have this back in, it's fantastic.
Go Benedict!
The students also spent the day interacting with the school's secondary students, a great opportunity for the current Year 6s.
This is almost part of their first transition day up to the secondary school next year, so they're already involved. They've been working with our Year 12 house captain, so it's all part of the seamless transition for them.
Older children making the most of their final years, dressing up in a team colour, green, yellow and blue.
I just like to do zinc cream and yellow stuff because I want to support my team, especially because this is my last year and because I'm a house captain. The good part about being a house captain is you get to make dances up for sports and you get to read awards in assembly.
And what's a sports day without some team spirit?
Go Benedict! Go Rice!
Go McKillop.
Sophia Contagonis, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
A new exhibition has just been launched at the Broken Hill Regional Art Gallery. The piece is the work of a former local who honed his creative passions in the Silver City.
Iconic spots of the Silver City up on display.
A collection of 34 paintings of streetscapes of Broken Hill. It's titled From This Broken Hill.
For Kevin Mackay, Broken Hill holds a special place in his heart. Having spent most of his childhood in the mining town, he has plenty of memories of the Silver City. His passion to become an artist inspired by the Brushmen of the bush.
As an artist reaching a certain level of maturity, I thought it would be great to return to the source, go back to my childhood home.
Today, his new exhibition was revealed, a series of paintings from locations across Broken Hill. Some places viewers may recognise, others might take some local knowledge.
It's a really beautiful show. Kevin came out last year and they're all works based on his travels last year.
Those wanting to see the show are being encouraged to book a ticket online through the gallery's website.
Due to COVID at the moment, we can't have our usual big openings. We can't have so many people, all packed into the gallery, but people are still welcome to come and visit the gallery. We're open 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Tuesday to Saturday.
Patrick Reinke, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Stay with us. After the break, we'll have the local footy tips and the weather with Britt. Hello again, it's that time of the week again. Let's hear from the experts with this week's footy tips.
Welcome to Port Lincoln Footy Tips and the prelim final. We've got Tasmans hosting Marlborough Range at Centenary Oval. Tasmans went down to Waybacks last week in a topsy-turvy game. They were up, they were down, ended up losing by 16 points. Marlborough Range in an absolutely close nail-biter, won by 2 points in the last couple of minutes. Both teams looks like they may have some injury concerns. Big Yowie Wagner for Tasmans come off the field and didn't get back on. Marlborough Range also have a few concerns. This game, wow, I'm guessing it's going to be a tough, hard-fought game, and I think I'm going to have to go with Marlborough Range. They're the in-form team at the moment. They've won 5 on the trot, and I think they're going to make it 6.
Good evening and welcome to the preview for tomorrow's preliminary final in the SGL. 2 weeks to go, or 2 games to go to be exact. Port Bulldogs, they travel up here to Port Augusta on tomorrow to play the South Augusta Bulldogs. Port Bulldogs improving with every game. They got past Centrals last week, and obviously the Lions got past South Augusta last week to go into the grand final. So it's the battle of the Bulldogs. I think the red and white Bulldogs should win. They are really, really hurting after last week. Don't forget to get your tickets at the gate. 1,000 people limited for tomorrow's game, and for the grand final in Port Pirie next week, you have to get your tickets through the club. Again, limited to 1,000 people.
It's preliminary final time here in Wyola football. West Wyola won through to yet another grand final. It'll be their 10th in a row next weekend. But this weekend it's the preliminary final, Central Wyola versus Rapina. Central's knocked out North last week after a dominant second half. Roos have beaten the Roosters twice this year in their games, but by narrow margins, so it certainly won't be surprised if Centrals do get up on the weekend. But I think we'll stick with Rapina in what should be an outstanding preliminary final.
And for a look at your local weather, here's Britt.
Thanks, Louise. It's been another warm one today. Port Augusta, Wyola and Port Pirie all recording tops of 33 degrees. Maximums were all well above average, apart from at Port Lincoln where it reached a top of just 21 degrees. 30 was the high at Broken Hill today, and it reached 32 at Woodna, Kadina and Cleve. Taking a look at today's satellite images, and we can see thick cloud blanketing South Australia with a broad trough and embedded low and cold front generating widespread rain and showers, heaviest over central parts, and some thunderstorms mainly over the interior. And that wet weather is set to continue into tomorrow, but first let's look at those Gulf waters. Winds northeast to southeasterly at 15 to 20 knots, but easing around midday. Seas at 1 to 2 metres, then decreasing slightly. Swells south to southwesterly at up to 1.5 metres. And that range should ease tomorrow morning at Port Lincoln, partly cloudy in the afternoon with a high of 21. A possible morning storm at Cleve with rain easing, also 21. Much the same at Woodna with a high of 23 degrees. A possible morning storm for Wyola, rainy with a top of 23 tomorrow. Rain and a likely storm for Port Augusta, 24 the top. And more rain for Kadina with an expected top of 21 degrees. Port Pirie, rain with a possible storm, 22 the high. More rain for Clare with a top of 19. And Broken Hill can't escape the wet either. Showers with a possible storm and a top of 22 degrees. Looking to your Sunday now, showers about the mid-north and York Peninsula. Mostly fine elsewhere with strong winds expected. Port Augusta, a top of 30 degrees. Wyola, 29. Woodna and Port Pirie, both 28. Broken Hill, sunny and 27. Kadina, 25. Port Lincoln, 24. And a quick look into next week now. Monday, showers about the west coast, lower Eyre Peninsula, mid-north and York Peninsula. Strong winds about the eastern Eyre Peninsula. Temperatures a bit cooler too. Port Augusta with a top of 22 degrees. Wyola 21. A top of 20 for Broken Hill and Port Pirie. Kadina 19. Woodna 18. Port Lincoln 17. And finally now to Tuesday, mostly fine across the region apart from possible showers about the lower Eyre and York Peninsulas. Port Augusta 21, a top of 20 for Wyola, Broken Hill and Port Pirie 19, Woodna and Kadina 18, Port Lincoln 16. And Louise, that's the weekend weather. Back to you.
All right, thank you for that, Britt. And that's your local news for this week. Thank you for joining us. We'll have updates later. Until then, have a lovely and safe evening. Good night.